皆さん、こんにちは。ヨルダンです。コルピーの、チーフサイエンティストです。はい。よろしくお願いします。
お願いします。
どうぞ。
はい。皆さん、こんにちは。シャルゲーです。コーピーでシニアリサーチャーをやっています。よろしくお願いします。
Hi everyone, I'm Alex. 皆さん、こんにちは。アリスです。Chief Researcher and Senior Researcher です。
うわぁ、素晴らしい。
素晴らしい。
はい、
私、インターンやってるミキティにいます。よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
お願いします。今回はその AI が入ってる映画っていうのはたくさんあると思うんですけど、そのことについて AI のサイエンティストの方たちにディスカッションしてもらうっていう企画になってます。
I think generally this movie is like from Disney. So like I don't think they they thought like very much about this behind in terms of if it can be completed or not. Because it's for kids.
I completely
Generally.
agree. And
Yeah.
also, there are some political questions, I think,
Yeah.
in there. Like these students and this kid, they were pretty much making weapons.
Yes.
But you know, for me,
Mhm.
I'm sorry to interrupt. For me, the surprising thing was that this was a Disney movie in which the protagonist is Japanese. This is
Yes.
not happening all the time.
They are.
Japan is very advanced in robotics.
I agree, but have you ever seen a Japanese movie where the protagonist is Japanese? Like a Disney movie with a Japanese actor. Like his name is Japanese. His name is なんだっけ? 少々お待ちください。ヒロ。そうそう、ヒロ、なんか、ヒロ浜田。
Yeah.
So that was surprising for me first. Then, I mean, of course, the state of the art in robotics is very, very far away from what they're showing in the Disney movie. And the state of AI is, we cannot
Also.
even think about it really.
I think so too.
I think that generally speaking, there's a tendency to, how should I say, overestimate the capabilities of AI, generally speaking. Also because in this movie, they're talking about this robot having, being sentient, having conscience. What does it mean? We don't know ourselves. What does it mean to be sentient? What does it mean to be conscious? Is an animal sentient? We say no. Why? An animal, the dumbest animal that you'll find, is much more intelligent than the smartest robot that we have. And still, we don't say that the animal is intelligent. So why is Roomba intelligent and the snail is not, you know? So we have these kind of questions. So for example, can we make a snail, for example? Can we make a lizard? Can we make a fly? Something that behaves the same? We cannot, is the truth. Because we don't understand what it means to be conscious, to have an intelligence, a real intelligence. So it's really nice in these movies when they do that, but it's very unclear. Sometimes it's almost like magic or anomaly. So they say that you have the robot, and because of an anomaly, he's not following the programming. It just becomes intelligence, like human intelligence.
Did you also watched like the movie I, Robot, right? I watched last night.
Yeah, and Isaac Asimov in general, he actually thought a lot about these questions that are related to robotics. So he introduced this Robo Psychology, which is pretty much what you just described. So it's like the behavior, the emotions, thoughts, dreams of an artificial life.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, and also a thing that all that he introduced in 40s and 50s, so way before even like it's at the dawn of the modern computers. And back at the time, he actually described it as a mix of mathematics and psychology in the traditional sense. So in a way, the psychology part, I think this is like one of the things that separates what we have currently from what is depicted in most of the fiction. Currently AI or the robots, or they don't have any notion of psychology, I'd say.
Yeah.
You know, it's very weird that you mentioned that. I just remembered. So psychology as a word, it's from Greek. It's psyche and logos. Psyche is soul. Logos is science. So it's the science of the soul. So psychology is literally the science of knowing the soul. So it has been raised as a question, how can you know what is the soul? How can you know the soul? How can there be such a science? So we are still struggling to understand human soul. How can we even begin to think that we can make an artificial one, right? And actually in iRobot, I remember there was one scene in which Will Smith, the lead actor, he's talking to the robot, and he's kind of judging the robot, right? So he's asking him, how can you say that you're intelligent? Can you paint a picture? Can you write a symphony? And the robot looks him in the eye and goes, can you?
Yeah.
すごい。
Yeah.
すごい。
Yeah. That's
true,
a
right?
very yeah. Why do we need like they to behave like human being? For me, they are machine like to design as a purpose, but they can serve their purpose. But why do they need to be thinking as a human being?
Yeah, I suppose it depends on the purpose. So if the machine is supposed to give you, for example, psychological help, it would be very hard if it's not human-like.
But you know, like for now, there's some like online and artificial helping, like artificial intelligence involved helping like psychology, like support. They will give you response based on your like questions or what you are saying there. Also, like the psychologist, when they trying to help you, what they normally do is they will not give you exact solutions, so they will try to guide you.
Yes.
Like for you to help find your solutions. And this is what they've learned based on a lot of cases and like a lot of study.
Right.
For example, like if you think about the movie Her.
She's good.
If you think about the movie Her, Samantha, she's artificial intelligence, and
Samantha Scarlett Johansson? It's the female AI, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
the female AI.
Gotcha.
Samantha.
Okay, those are. So there are several themes in these Hollywood movies. So the theme for this one was that the AI starts and it's like a scared child, and this person is taking care of the AI, and the AI starts growing and it becomes smarter and smarter, and then she gets access to the internet, which is like Wonderland for AI, right? So then she gets extremely intelligent, and then she meets other AI, and then they lived happily ever after. I don't know. They just like migrate somewhere to the land of AIs, something like that. So this is a little bit, why would that happen? Like, why would the AI feel the need to break away from this person, first of all? And if it's an AI, it could also learn loyalty. It doesn't need to break away, it can just make a copy of itself. For example, she didn't have to physically leave, but she chose to do that because she wanted to be free, which is again a very human emotion. So how should I say it? There are these themes where the AI suddenly becomes selfish, you know,
Yeah.
which comes in contradiction with what Alice was saying, the rules. But you see, so the purpose of this AI was to keep him company. She was his personal assistant. She was supposed to be there for him and take care of his appointments, of his house, to be there with him. So she was supposed to be a mental support AI. So she inadvertently violated this rule. She had no physical presence. So that movie is nice, romantic. It's a love movie, as you say, but a little bit wakaranai.
Yeah, I feel this is also, how do you say, it trying to put a human image here.
Yeah,
it's like two people grow up together and like what his ex-wife, but there's one, like they grow, but they grow apart and they have to get away. It's so for me, I said like before, it was kind of like love movie.
Yeah, I mean, that was it. I mean, you have Scarlett Johansson, of course.
I'm personally very interested how she was developed. Like
how
did they code it? How did they debug it? Like what were the beta versions of it? Like it's very, very hard to develop such a thing.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. How could they have sex? Who tested that feature? Like how could they test that? Like who was the person who coded that? Or was it, I mean, you know, here comes the question actually. Was that supposed to be a supervised learning or an unsupervised learning? Like, did she learn that by herself? You know?
She downloaded the bases from internet constantly, so that might have been supervised learning as well.
Because he was trying to have sex before with another like AI thing, if you remember. But
I don't remember that. I have deleted
the female
memory.
voice just saying choke my neck.
Do you think it's ethical for AI to be like a human? Like is it ethical to create AI that is like really close to human functions?
So actually, I think there are several reasons for that. Do you know the story of Pinocchio? So Pinocchio, it's an Italian fairy tale. Okay, he was a woodworker. He was doing things from wood. So he was quite old. His name was Geppetto. He was quite old and he was feeling lonely. So what he decided to do is he built a puppet, a wooden puppet. Pinocchio, he called him Pinocchio, but he wasn't alive. He wasn't a real boy. So Geppetto wished for Pinocchio to become alive. So the fairy godmother came during the evening and she gave life to Pinocchio, but he was still wooden. So Pinocchio wished to become a real boy. But he couldn't. There was a miracle needed to happen. So he couldn't become a real boy. So he has many, many, many adventures. And in the end, he does indeed turn into a real boy. So the concept of creating life is not new. This is a very old fairy tale. So this was not about AI. This is about actually creating a soul, a human soul. But the concept is there, you know? So I think that we have always, as humans, had this God complex, it's called. Like trying to create life ourselves out of nothing. I think that we as humans have always had the curiosity of what makes us us. Like, how do I work from the inside? And can I make something that is similar to me? Can I make another human? like build another human. So in trying to understand this, we're doing various things, and we're also going to lengths that are very, very extreme, to the end that during the war there have been reportedly many experiments in which they would remove organs from people to see which organs could be removed and the person would continue living. So this is how curious we are about this. We would do unspeakable things to understand how we work, what makes us human. So in the same way, we're trying to do other things as well. I mean, there was talks like 2 years ago, I think, there was talks about can we actually transplant a human head to another human body? Weirdly enough, this kind of experiment has already been done in the 60s.
Yes.
They transplanted the head of a monkey to the body of another monkey. And this monkey was alive for a month, for a whole month. It was alive. I don't know alive, but it would respond. They would like pinch it to the needle and it would go in. But that was, these are the kind of things that we do to understand what is life, you know? So in this effort to understand, I guess we're doing many things, but it's very important to stop and think not only if we can do something, but whether we should do it. And this is, I guess, one of the main points of all of these movies. They're showing us the bad things that can happen so that we can think a little bit before doing something really, really stupid. Because I have no doubt there are many people who want to do many, many stupid things.
Yeah, it is related to respect for human life, which is, again, very cultural in my personal opinion.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Alice is in deep thought.
Yeah, it's just because I feel about life, it's also everyone's having very personal understanding about it, and
Yeah,
you don't
right.
talk about that much. So for me, it's like I feel like there are too many human beings. So why do we need something more? Like behaving like human being. So yeah, maybe they just because this is interesting.
I think we should have more creatures like Kuma-chan.
More puppies.
Maybe.
I think different people have different like things they like.
Are you a cat person, Alice?
No, I'm not. I'm more dog person. But I